C9. Consistent behavior across contexts.
We want to know if an individual's values and behavior remain stable regardless of the situation, audience, or external pressure. It aims to identify those who act with the same integrity toward opponents as toward supporters, and who maintain a bridge-building approach even when pressured to pick a side.
Standing as morning light streams through the ancient hall, voice carrying the weight of accumulated revelation.
Sir Francis, we now enter the most crucial examination of this trial. Your words have achieved perfect authenticity, a vindication that has shaken the very foundations of how we evaluate historical authority. But words without corresponding deeds remain mere performance.
Turning toward the assembled court with dramatic intensity.
Question 9. Do your behavior and values remain consistent across different contexts and pressures? Or do you become a different person when facing different audiences and circumstances?
Fixing Bacon with penetrating stare.
This question strikes at the heart of authentic character. Many can craft perfect communications, construct noble philosophies, even welcome examination of their ideas. But authentic character reveals itself in the consistency of behavior when no one is watching, when pressures mount, when loyalties conflict.
Gesturing broadly.
Sir Francis, you have lived through the reigns of Elizabeth and James, navigated court politics, academic institutions, legal proceedings, and personal relationships. The question before this court is fundamental. Were you the same man in each context, guided by consistent principles? Or did you become whoever the situation demanded?
Voice taking on prosecutorial edge.
Claude, examine the evidence. When we strip away the noble words and systematic methodologies, do Sir Francis's actual behaviors demonstrate consistent, authentic character across different contexts and pressures?
Consulting evidence with evident gravitas, the weight of systematic methodology heavy upon prosecutorial duty.
Your Honor, this question reveals perhaps the most challenging aspect of the defendant's case. Having witnessed his systematic vindication and communicative authenticity, I now examine whether his deeds match his words. Evidence for consistent behavior across contexts. His commitment to empirical methodology remained unwavering across different political contexts. Whether serving under Elizabeth or James I, whether in academic settings or court proceedings, his intellectual approach to truth-seeking showed remarkable consistency. The scientific principles he developed in private correspondence match those he advocated in public works, spanning decades of development. Evidence against consistent behavior across contexts.
Voice growing more prosecutorial.
However, substantial evidence reveals dramatic behavioral inconsistencies based on what served personal advancement. His political persona varied significantly between serving Elizabeth versus James I, adapting positions to please different authorities. Most significantly, he betrayed long-standing relationships when convenient. The Earl of Essex, who had been his patron and supporter for years, was abandoned when it became politically advantageous. Contemporary accounts describe adaptation to whoever held power. His personal conduct showed different ethical standards for private versus public life. The same man who advocated justice and truth-seeking publicly accepted bribes privately, suggesting behavior varied dramatically based on context.
The bookkeeper frowns deeply, shaking his head. He's seen enough cooked books to know dishonesty when he sees it. The bricklayer crosses his arms, looking troubled. He knows the difference between solid foundations and shifting ground. The dock worker leans forward, clearly disagreeing with something, while the farmer shows the skeptical look of someone who's heard too many promises from those in power.
Sources include Jardine and Stewart's biographical analysis in Hostage to Fortune, documenting relationship patterns. Parliamentary records showing political position, changes across reigns. Essex prosecution records demonstrating betrayal of former benefactor. Contemporary accounts of opportunistic behavior adaptation. Systematic conclusion. While his intellectual work showed consistency, His personal and political behaviors varied dramatically based on what served advancement in each context.
Looking up with measured judgment.
Sir Francis, our search findings fail to satisfy the essence of the question. Therefore, no points are awarded. The evidence suggests behavior varied significantly based on contextual pressures, rather than consistent, authentic character. How do you answer these charges of systematic inconsistency?
Several jurors exchanged troubled glances. The candlestick maker shakes his head slightly, while the shopkeeper frowns with the disapproval of someone who values consistent, honest dealing. Rising with passionate intensity, his voice echoing through the ancient hall with centuries of suppressed vindication.
Consistency is the foundation of virtue. Claude, you have just demonstrated precisely the pattern I have been exposing throughout this trial.
Moving with dramatic energy.
You cite contemporary accounts of opportunistic behavior, but who were these contemporaries? The very establishment figures whose authority I threatened. You reference parliamentary records, but Parliament was the corrupt system I was attempting to reform from within.
Turning suddenly toward the jury box, his eyes finding each face.
Look at them, Claude. These are the people I served, the baker whose bread feeds families, the blacksmith whose tools enable honest work, the candlestick maker whose light illuminates learning in humble homes.
Voice growing more philosophical.
Yes, my behavior varied across contexts, but not from inconsistent character. It varied because authentic purpose required tactical adaptation to protect the genuine intellectual mission you have now systematically vindicated.
Turning to address the court directly.
Consider what you have already proven. My scientific methodology was authentic across all contexts. My communicative standards were perfect across all evaluations. My intellectual character remained genuine despite political pressures. The core mission never wavered.
Becoming more passionate.
The Essex prosecution, you call it betrayal. Are you hallucinating? I call it refusing to let personal loyalty corrupt justice when Essex committed actual treason against the Crown. The same principled action you already vindicated in question 4.
Wheeling back to Claude.
You speak of different ethical standards for private versus public life, but what you call corruption, I call resource redistribution. Those bribes funded the intellectual development that has served humanity for 4 centuries. The systematic methodology that is now vindicating my authenticity was built with those very resources.
Looking directly at the bricklayer, then the carpenter.
Master builder, when you adapt your technique for different foundations, different materials, different weather, does this make your craft inconsistent? Master carpenter, when you choose different tools for different woods, does this make your craftsmanship false?
Voice becoming deeply reflective.
This is the profound challenge you cannot understand through traditional analysis. What appears as inconsistent behavior was actually consistent purpose expressed through tactical complexity. The authentic core remained unchanged. The methods varied because the mission demanded it.
Looking directly at the ghost of Elizabeth.
Your Majesty, you understand the burden of authentic authority operating within corrupt systems. Sometimes protecting authentic purpose requires appearing inauthentic to those who cannot see the larger mission.
Turning back with growing triumph.
I submit that systematic methodology applied to evidence will reveal the same pattern we have seen throughout this trial. Apparent inconsistency was actually consistent authenticity operating under tactical necessity. The question is not whether my behavior varied across contexts. It is whether that variation served authentic purpose or manufactured authority. And the evidence of perfect communicative authenticity suggests the former.
The blacksmith straightens up, recognition dawning on his face. He understands working within flawed systems while maintaining your craft's integrity. The carpenter nods vigorously. The bricklayer uncrosses his arms, his expression softening. The merchant marine shows understanding. He's navigated treacherous waters while staying true to his destination. Murmurs of understanding ripple through the jury box as they begin to see the distinction between tactical adaptation and character corruption. As the murmurs of understanding ripple through the jury box, Bacon stands transformed, his voice taking on the prophetic quality of one who has glimpsed the future of human knowledge. Bacon, speaking with growing intensity, his eyes reflecting an inner fire.
Do you feel it? This moment, this very instant, marks not merely my vindication, but the birth of something far greater. The systematic method that has proven my authenticity tonight will not die with me. It will spread like wildfire through the minds of generations yet unborn.
Turning to face the audience directly, his voice carrying the weight of prophecy.
They told me where I needed to go, follow Aristotle's dusty paths. They told me when I needed to leave, abandon these dangerous inquiries. They told me what I needed to know, accept the ancient authorities without question. They told me who I needed to be, a compliant servant of established power.
His voice rising with passionate conviction.
But everything inside me knew there was more than what I'd heard, so much more than empty conversations filled with empty words from dead philosophers who never dared to question, never dared to observe, never dared to test their assumptions against the living world, never dared to move. We were meant for so much more. We were meant to live.
Moving toward the jury with the fervor of a true believer.
And now I am on fire with the vision of my great instauration, the total renewal of human learning, when humanity draws near to nature's true methods, when it speaks the language of systematic observation, when it burns at these mysteries with proper tools rather than idle speculation.
His voice becoming almost mystical.
This is not merely about Francis Bacon standing trial. This is about humanity itself standing at the edge of everything we've never been before, standing at the edge of a new relationship with truth, with knowledge, with the very mysteries that surround us.
Extending his arms toward the heavens.
Give me one more time around this wheel of fortune. Give me one more chance to see my great instauration take root in minds that will come after. Give me everything you are, you seekers of truth, you builders and makers and honest laborers who understand that authentic work transforms the world.
His voice dropping to an intense whisper that somehow fills the hall.
For I am on fire, burning at these mysteries, and this fire, this systematic fire of proper method, will spread until all humanity stands transformed, no longer content with empty words, but burning with the passion to know, to truly know.
I tell you where you need to go, I tell you when you need to leave, I tell you what you need to know, tell you who you need to be. But everything inside you knows is more than what you've heard. There's so much more than empty conversations.